Right now, this story is moving very fast, and if you are just hearing that headline about loyalists taking over the national broadcaster and a news bulletin being interrupted, you need to calm down first and understand what is really going on behind that kind of message, because the way it is being presented online is very strong, very dramatic, and very easy to misunderstand if you don't break it down properly. So let's go step by step in a very simple and clear way. What people are saying is that individuals linked to Vice President Constantino Chiwenga have influenced or taken control of Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, and that during a live news bulletin, something unusual happened, like an interruption or a disruption. Now, when you hear something like that, the first thing that should come to your mind is this. In a country like Zimbabwe, the national broadcaster is not just an ordinary TV station. It is a very controlled and structured system. It is the official voice used to communicate government information to the public. So if anything unusual happens there, it immediately becomes a very serious conversation. But before we jump to conclusions, you must understand this clearly. There is no fully confirmed, solid, verified report that says there has been a complete takeover of the broadcaster or a forceful interruption of national news in the way social media is describing it. What we are seeing right now is a story growing from tension, from perception, and from how people are interpreting certain movements in the political space. Now listen carefully, because this is where the real gist starts. Zimbabwe's political structure is very unique. Power is not just about elections or public speeches. It is also about influence, relationships, and control of key institutions. And one of the most important institutions in any country is media, because whoever controls information controls how people think, how people react, and even how people feel about what is happening around them. So when you hear a headline that connects political loyalists to control of media, it is not just gossip. It is something that people take seriously because of what it could mean. Now let's talk about the name at the center of this, Constantino Chiwenga. This is not just a random figure. This is someone who has deep roots in both the military and political system of Zimbabwe. His influence did not start today. It goes back many years, especially to the period when there was a major shift in leadership in the country. So when people mention his loyalists, they are not just talking about fans or supporters. They are talking about individuals who may hold positions or have influence in key areas. And that is why the headline sounds so powerful. But here is the important thing you must understand. Influence is not the same as control, and speculation is not the same as confirmed action. If you are following this breakdown and it is helping you understand the story better, quickly like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps more people see clear explanations like this without confusion. Now let's continue. There have been ongoing discussions and quiet tension within the political space in Zimbabwe. You may not always see it openly, but it is something analysts and observers have been watching closely. There are conversations about leadership direction, future positioning, and how power may shift over time. These are normal things in politics, especially in systems where power is concentrated among a few strong figures. Now, when you combine that kind of background tension with a sudden headline about media control, what happens? People begin to connect the dots very quickly. They start to ask, is something happening behind the scenes? Is there a struggle for influence? Is there a silent repositioning going on? And once those questions start, the story grows very fast. Now let's talk about the claim of a broadcast interruption. In a normal situation, a national news bulletin follows a strict schedule. There is a script, there are presenters, there is a control room, and everything is timed properly. So if anything disrupts that flow, even for a short moment, it becomes noticeable. But there are many reasons why a broadcast could be interrupted. It could be a technical issue, it could be a scheduling change, it could be an internal adjustment, or in rare cases, something more serious. But without clear confirmation, you cannot immediately jump to the most extreme explanation. And that is exactly what is happening online right now. People are jumping straight to the most dramatic conclusion. That is why it is important for you to stay grounded and understand the difference between what is confirmed and what is being assumed. If you like how this is being explained in a calm and simple way, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. That way, anytime something trends like this, you will get the real breakdown, not just noise. Now let's go deeper. Why is this story getting so much attention, even without full confirmation? It is because it touches three powerful things at the same time: politics, media, and power. Anytime these three come together, the story automatically becomes big. People are naturally interested in power, who has it, who is gaining it, and who might be losing it. And when you add media into the mix, it becomes even more sensitive. because media is the channel through which information reaches everyone. So even a small suggestion that something unusual happened in a national broadcast is enough to trigger wide reactions. Now, let me simplify this for you in everyday terms. Imagine you are watching your normal evening news. Everything is going smoothly. Then suddenly, the screen changes unexpectedly, or the presenter stops, or something unusual appears. Immediately, you will feel that something is not normal. You may not know what it is, but you will know that something is off. That feeling is exactly what people are reacting to in this situation, not necessarily confirmed facts, but the idea that something unusual may have happened. Now let's bring it back again to reality. At this moment, there is no solid confirmation that there has been a full takeover of the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation. There is also no widely verified report that a national bulletin was forcefully interrupted by any political group.
But what is real is this: there is political tension. There is strong control of media, and there is high public sensitivity. When these three exist together, stories like this will always emerge. And sometimes those stories turn out to be true later. Other times they fade away as exaggeration. That is why you must stay patient and follow the development step by step. Now let me ask you something, and I want you to think about it carefully. If something like this were to actually happen for real, not just as a rumor, what would it mean? Would it mean a shift in power? Would it mean internal disagreement becoming visible? Or would it simply be a moment that gets corrected quickly? These are the kinds of questions that make this story interesting, because it is not just about what has happened, but what could happen.
If you have thoughts on that, drop them in the comments. And while you're at it, like the video and subscribe, because we are breaking this down step by step in a way everyone can understand. Now let's move further. Another important thing you must understand is that in systems where institutions are closely linked to political leadership, changes do not always happen loudly. Sometimes they happen quietly. Sometimes they happen gradually. And sometimes they are only noticed when something unusual happens, like a headline or a rumor like this. That is why observers pay attention even to small signals. But again, paying attention is different from concluding. So right now, what we have is a signal, not a confirmed event. And that is the most accurate way to describe this situation. Now, let's bring everything together in a clean and simple way so you don't miss anything. There is a trending headline suggesting that loyalists linked to a powerful political figure have taken over the national broadcaster and interrupted a news bulletin. This headline is spreading fast because it connects to existing political tension and public interest. However, there is no strong confirmed evidence that a full takeover or forced interruption has actually happened. What we are seeing is a developing story built on interpretation, reaction, and the environment of power dynamics. So the correct position right now is to stay informed, not to panic, and not to jump to conclusions. That is how you stay ahead and understand news properly. If you followed up to this point, you're doing very well. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next part, because as this story develops, there will be more to analyze and more to understand.